Wow. Welcome. Ooh, I just got tired today. Big breaths in and out. Big breaths in and out. It's actually a quite, astrologically. Good morning, Lexi. It is a very nice day. I mean, there is um Jupiter's in Gemini, but it's making some nice little sextiles over to Pluto in Aquarius. And or trines, I should say, over there. And I feel it's all these different sort of threads that are trying to come in, and these beautiful angles that are trying to come in. And the moon's gone in is in Aquarius as well. So that it is this beautiful transformational energy that is coming forth, and especially with the moon being in Aquarius. And Aquarius, doesn't like to overdo something. They they want to get to the fact. They want to get to the things. They want to get to whatever it is. And if you want to make it complicated, I mean, especially with Pluto at the end of Aquarius and the moon going into Aquarius, if you want to make it complicated, sure, we can make it complicated. Yet with this beautiful trine that's there, and with the Gemini trine, it's like, well, let's look at this. Let's not make it complicated. Let's sort of take the information and break it down to kind of like bite-sized pieces, and not try to overcomplicate it. And same with what do you call it? Uh Same with the Pluto or the Mars and Chiron. I mean, this is actually if you want to get things done, um, when it comes to revamping something, or looking at revamping, say, your website or your social media site. If that's it, this is really a beautiful day to be doing this. And even with Uranus coming in, it's in Taurus, and Neptune at the end of Pisces, I just feel like it's bringing in some real positive forward motion, and not for us to really overthink things. And I know this is going to be a week that is kind of like going to push you to limits that maybe you don't want to be pushed, because it's a direction that you need to go on, and the universe is telling you this is what you need to do, yet you don't like the answer that the universe is giving you. So you're going to fight it. You're going to try and find a different solution other than the one that has been given to you. And it's where you have to break it down and start to make it simple, and not to overlook it, because the new and this new idea, new thoughts, new ways of doing something is trying to get you to become more creative, more understanding. It's wanting to open up more doorways for you. And I know for myself. I mean, you know, an old dog new tricks is like, what? No. But it's like, yeah, let's try something new. Let's, take some steps to do something. Doesn't mean you have to do it all today, but it's getting you to really begin to sort of maneuver in a new way, in a new light, and not take everything um like this gigantic problem, right? And overanalyze the problem, and looking at that problem. So it's getting out of, I guess, getting out and shaking things up, you know? Uh if you've been sort of in a rut for a while, and you just like, oh, I hate this, get out, go for a walk, take a yoga class. Um do something different than what you're usually doing. Like this morning when I came home, automatic. I just said, you know what? I'm going to just take the dog for a walk now. Before I procrastinate, oh, I need to eat breakfast. I need to do this and this. No, let's go. I mean, it's a beautiful day. The sun is out. Let's get her out, get her going, get some of that little chihuahua energy out. And that's the thing. It's like doing things in a new way. If you're just sort of sitting in a rut, and that's the whole thing, like you can easily get into a rut with this. In order to change things up, in order to enter into a new direction, you got to look at things in a new way. And it's almost and they got gardening come into my head. Like I was been watching all these beautiful people garden, and they're gardening, and it's funny because I'm watching them. They're all planting everything in a nice, beautiful little row, having everything in a nice little row. And then I go and watch the people doing permaculture. They don't plant in a row, you know? And one of the guys was saying that I was listening to, he goes, well, nothing in nature is in a row. You might think it's in a row, but it's not. But yet we want everything in a row. So when you're planting your radishes, they got to be in this row. They got to be in this row. It's got to be this way. And they got to be so many feet apart and all, everything that we do with gardening. And I'm just like, oh, but when you work in permaculture, you sit back and you work with the land, and you work with what works together. And most gardeners know what works together, but yet they still, many of them, I'm not saying all, but many of them still do things the old way. There's another Filipino woman that I watch with her gardening, and it's absolutely fabulous. I don't plant in a row either, and I'm very symmetrical. Yeah, watching her gardens, she has raised beds, and just some of the things that she does and how she grows things and the things that she grows things in. I just plus, I mean, I think I believe they live in California, so you can grow. I mean, um, living here, like we went outside in our backyard today. And well, because anyways, going out this morning to do our usual stuff that we do in the morning. As we went, and Steve has been mowing the lawn. And the thing is that I've been thinking, well, maybe I'll do something or plant something. And I'm just like, they let their dog dig a hole in the grass. I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, it's like, come on. It kind of pissed me off because, like, you want to have something nice. You want to put something nice out there. Yet, I mean, I get you got a dog. I get that you put your dog in the backyard, right? I get that. I got a dog too, but as soon as my dog starts, I mean, she doesn't dig, but as soon as my dog starts digging, I'm just like, no, stop, or get her onto something else, or you got to distract them because usually they're digging for something. Anyways, but I mean, I'm just like, fuck me. So just trying to do something in a different way. So today we were thinking, as we were talking, I said, well, then maybe I'll do some pots. I said, when I get a little bit of money or something, I'll put things into pots. And raspberries do really well in containers. So I was thinking, oh, okay, I can do a couple raspberries and things like that, and do, even potatoes in those bags and stuff like that, and things like that, and do some strawberries. So I have to think outside of the box. Like I can't just go and plot something out on the back grass because of the animal upstairs. And I just like, okay, it's his backyard as much as mine. So let me look at ways of doing things differently. And that's what I got to do. Look at ways of doing things different. Yeah, tomatoes as well. We usually have tomatoes in containers. But it's that type of thinking. I just have to now get the money for it. That's the other thing. And I think Lexi's feeling the same way. Feeling very stretched in in what we can do and can't do right now. So that's the thing. That's see, the energies are positive for us to really do things and move into a direction. yet we can get really stuck in a lot of the different mind fucks of what isn't working and what we can't do. So it's almost where it's like, okay, let's put that into the bag. I can't do this, I can't do that. This is what I can't. And then try and find what I can do. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge, is to try and find what I can do. And I know I 'cause I know Lexi's is, I think Lexi's is the same age as I am. It's funny, because we're both sort of in the same kinda pot trying to create more of something, create more of a prosperity and stuff, you know. But anyways, don't wanna go on to my little tangent on that. It's looking at what is, and looking at more of the gratitudes, and I gotta admit, 6 years apart, I think. Okay, yeah, something like that. I know I'm older than you. I believe I'm older you than you. It's interesting with it's interesting how the transformation and changes, and it's tough when you're alone and figuring out a direction. Yeah. And that's the other part too. Is like, being a single woman, or even for s- in my situation, I don't want to feel like I'm acting like a victim. I got to really choose my words here, because it's a happy day. It's a good day, right? But it, even in with my situation, is very limited, and limited in a lot of things I can and cannot do. So the frustration's there. So within that frustration, again, it's finding that hole in the backyard. And it's we're not victims, we're just sharing. Finding that hole in the backyard, and then trying to figure out doing something differently, and trying looking at things in a different way. And because there's so much frustration, and I feel with everything, yes, a positive movement and going through, and there's so many different threads that are coming through. But there's also this piece, and that I keep on seeing. It's like being cut with a razor so many times, and that it's finally, how much more can you take? And that's sort of the other side of it. It's sort of that other side of things. And it's not that you don't want greatness for other people, because success, as I wrote on my Facebook page, you can't have success without having other people succeed. And that's the thing, we got to have other people succeed. It's like, if you think, mind-boggling thought to have, if there is either a really good president and a really good prime minister, and they both said, hey, let's let's use our resources. Let's use the resources. Let's get our resources going, right? And let us create, if we use our resources, let's say we decide to pump oil and use the resources that we have, and the United States decides to pump oil. And could you imagine? Could you just imagine what that could do? What that could do for the economy, what it could do for our inflation rates, and how things could actually come into a really nice flow for everything. And then even go in and start saying, we're going to go for a price war, and we're going to sell our oil at a cheaper price. Fuck you, OPEC and everything else, and we're going to do it this way. Very similar to what Russia did. And then reinvest in your own economy. I mean, that's just a really great dream. Today and the weekend were a shit show for me. Bang. Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, this weekend was quite. I mean, I gotta say, I was teaching my level 1 Reiki, so I was in a whole different bubble. And it was a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And doing, level 1 Reiki, teaching level 1 Reiki was absolutely phenomenal. It's just you just come out and you're just floating. You're exhausted. I'm exhausted, but it's just beautiful to be able to do that, and to be able to share that with others. Um, Cynthia, that's too much. That's too logical. Yeah, it is too logical. But there's too many people very at the very top that are very evil and cynical and want bad things to happen to people, and that's unfortunate. But that's the whole mm, premise of a lot of this beautiful energy coming in. It's about creating the communities and coming together and helping one another and allowing for one another to be able to grow and thrive. And I think w- what I see, what I feel, it's there, but what I also feel is that people are just extremely frustrated with it all and trying and unable to find a way, trying to find a way and trying to grasp for a way of finding some sort of balance within themselves in order to create their abundance, to create that and allow them to thrive. It's like it's wonderful for someone like me to say go out and start gardening, but if you can't buy a loaf of bread, if you can't even buy a jug of milk, how are you going to buy seeds? And that's the thing, it's like it's great to say that, and somebody will say, "Well, it's only such and such amount." Yeah, but the person needs a jug of milk. Do you know, like, or a mom needs a jug of milk, or they need gas in their car, and that's what people are struggling with. So there's that struggle that's real for people. It's a struggle that is, there, and yet then you see and the other part that I see, um for people is that we talked to 3 or 4 people today that are going to Italy, that are going to Greece, that are going to different places, and yes, they saved up the money to do this, but it's like 20 to $30,000 that they're spending to go to these places. People are going on these and you see these people going on these extravagant trips, or even if you are wanting to go to the Caribbean or whatever, they're paying a lot of money to go there. Yet, it just, like, it mind boggles me, I'm not saying people can't do that, I don't want people to take this wrong, but there's people out there that's spending a lot of money, even for going to Paris for the Olympics, and people are going to Paris, like, that's going to be crazy, the amount of people that are gonna be in Paris for the Olympics, and the amount of money that's going to be spent on that. It's like people are still spending. There's still that money that is there for people to spend. Yet it's kind of like, again, it's that double-edged sword where a lot of those people who are spending, who are doing that, I just feel like it may not hit them right now, but it's going to hit them down the road somehow. It might hit them harder. Um, and because they're not used to not having the money to buy a jug of milk. Maybe that's it. So it hits them harder. I spent over $100 on plants and supplies this weekend. Yeah. So I mean, I can remember back when I lived in Penticton and stuff, we used to spend, I used to have a beautiful garden and grow a lot of stuff and then go shopping with my mom and then she'd buy all her flowers and stuff like that. And it would be a couple, I mean, that was quite a long time ago. Um, over 20 years ago, and it was still expensive then. It was like $100, $200 to get all the flowers and everything into the garden. So it is expensive. It is expensive to start, and, plus everything else has gone up with that. But today, I'm just saying, like, I did a whole thing yesterday of, I did a tarot reading for the week, and the Wheel of Fortune came up and saying that there is things that are changing, there are things that are happening. We just want it to be like the movies. We want it to happen, get it over with, let's get to the next spot, let's get over with it. Now they're talking about everything to do with, preparedness and everything for July and August, and the things that are coming forth in July and August, and people are, they're warning people, especially in Europe, for July and August, and to begin to get prepared for this right around the Olympics. Um, and it's interesting, with that, in saying that, telling people to get prepared. And yet, Again, we can go into the UK, we can go into many different countries in Europe where people are struggling just as much as people here, right? In order to get things, and even though some people have already done some prepping, but what I have found lately is the people who've done the prepping, or a lot of prepping, is that they've gone through a bit of their supplies, and now they're having troubles to restock their supplies. So that's the next thing, is people having problems to restock their supplies. So it's one of those crazy, crazy, crazy things that are going on right now. So I'm trying to keep this really positive because it is a positive day, but there's so much other information that has come across my feed that is really getting you to, like, what the fuck, you know, are people doing? What the fuck is our government doing? Um, and what they are, you think that they're not capable of doing anything more sinister, and yet, you know, here they are. It's like, our prime minister going into the States and blasting us, just dissing his own citizen. I mean, this is a man who hated anybody who didn't take the elixir, and basically threw them all underneath the bus and called them, names I can't even say on here because I'll just get a red flag. It's interesting, to see that. That's how I feel about my exes. It's interesting just to see how sinister some of these um are, and the things that they say, you know, um about his own people, like his own people, of but he's not very well liked anyways in the States. Wherever he's going, he's not getting the welcome that he thought he would get, because a lot of Americans don't like him at all, and Americans, they'll just fucking, they don't give a fuck. They'll just let you know. So that's interesting in itself, unless they get the prop people around him that do the clapping and stuff and then pretend to film. It's funny when you watch that, because you look at their when they're filming and they're holding it up like this and stuff, and you look at their phone, there's nothing on their phone. You can go take a flying nap. Yeah. So it is interesting how everything, energetically, and with Gemini being in there, yeah, it can get your mind going all over the place. So you really have to really bring down and make things extremely simple right now, and look at how you can, like a trained seal, how you can weigh it all out, and looking at the weighing out, and what it is that you need to weigh out in your, through the frustrations that you're facing. And with those frustrations, how are you, what are those, again, what are those good things that are coming through and working through them? Because, especially if you have, you deal with a lot of stress and anxiety, PTSD, depression, anything bipolar, anything like that, any mental illnesses, this energy can be like, yeah, it's really positive, and then your ego takes over, that part of your brain takes over, and it can really bring you into some crazy places. And so this is where it's like, it's a constant one. It's a constant being um in that door, that winding door. It's like you're going in, okay, I'm doing well, and then something pulls you back out. No, I got to recenter, I got to regroup. Okay, I'm going through, I'm going to do fine. And it's almost where right now it's kind of like feeling like this constant winding door of trying to create that balance within ourselves. And as we are feeling so much pressure coming upon us in the world around us, feeling, the intensity and the craziness of, going to the grocery store, filling up with gas, or having to, you know um do other things in our life, or we want to do other things in our life. And I the one person who's going off to Italy, I mean, he's saved for a while, to go there, but it's gonna cost him anywhere between 20 and $30,000 for him and his family to go. And he's not gonna join them till a month later because he's gonna stay back so he can work, as much as he can, and put in as much overtime as he can, so they're not strapped when they get back, you know? But for him, because of his mother's age and everything, he really wants to bring the kids over to see grandma and mom to see grandma before she passes, which is understandable. And I think that's the other thing is, a lot of people are going to be wanting to travel. They want to experience something. They want to get out. They don't want to stay stagnant in the place that they're at. They want to go, even if it's out camping, even if it's just, you know, out of town somewhere. It's just because I feel the other part too is that people are feeling so cloistered, so that they're unable to move and they just need to get out. They need to feel the freedom and feel that freedom to be able to expand, to be able to connect, and join in other things, in other places, right? And that's huge. That's huge. A couple I watched from the UK, they have they're I'm going to call them gypsies, because they are gypsies. And now they have sized down from a huge camper. I'm gonna say a camper that they redid and everything else and stuff like that, and they got a brand new engine and everything. And now they're living it's a car that has been, done over to be a camper, and that you camp in the car. So everything has been changed over, the way the seats are, everything for it to be a camper. And now they've downsized, and they've downsized a lot. Like, even the clothes that they have, it's the simplicity that they've gone to do this. And now they're living out of their car, the two of them, and they're traveling through Europe and stuff. But it's just because of the cost of everything, even with camping and stuff like that, and how they are I just, like, sometimes I don't even know how they do it. But the one thing in UA in the, EU and in England, facilities are very readily available, especially toilets and stuff like that, and places to go shower and stuff are quite readily available for people, um, and stuff like that. So, but still, it's one of those things. You really have to plan out your day, you have to plan out how you're going to cook, you're gonna have to plan out, where you're gonna camp, because they wild camp, right? So they sort of camp on the side of the road, and, it is an adventure, but it's also that for them, it's a choice of freedom, and that's the next thing. It's a choice of freedom. What are we willing to give up to get our freedom? And the thing is that we've given up we as a society have given up a lot thinking that we're getting our freedom, yet we're giving up a lot for our restrictions. Now we're coming into a time, it's like, what restrictions are you going to give up so that you can totally have your freedom back? What are those comforts that you're going to give up, that you're willing to give up in order to create the comforts that you are, or the freedom. And that means we have to start, in order for this beautiful energy to come in. Thank you. Now getting it. We have to get uncomfortable. You have to get to a place. And many of us, and I, will say, well, I'm already uncomfortable. Yeah, but it's really going to get where, how much more are you willing to get uncomfortable? In Japan right now, because the society is growing, like, you won't, like, if you go to Japan, you won't really see homelessness. They scooch the homeless out. They hide their homelessness there. Same in many other countries. They hide the homelessness. Um, so in Japan, but the homelessness that's in Japan and some of these towns, or these uh, places that have popped up, where these shanty towns, they're going to call them little shanty towns, that have popped up in different areas outside of some of these major cities, that have popped up, that over 70% are people over the age of 50. And I'm just like, because they have a high aging population, and the society has changed where uh, it's not having the mother or the grandmother live with the family anymore, because a lot of the youth don't want that, or they want to be more Americanized, so they want to have um, independent. Plus, less of them are having children, hence the aging population. So they have a huge inverted population, and they don't really have a system to support it. Hence, I think that's what most of the Western countries are going into, is an inverted population where a heavy amount of elderly people or older people are are happening, and there isn't a structure or a facility set up for them. Set up for them. Now that gets me to the other things that our government is doing, and I really don't want to talk too much about that because that's just gross and disgusting. With the things that they are starting to do or what they are wanting to do, which is the same thing that Hitler did. Whoops, said the wrong word. Same thing as the man with the mustache did a long time ago, who did a funny goose step. There you go. Um, and what he did to the aging population in his country, and what he did to people who are handicapped, what he did to the gypsy population, and what he did to others. It was quite he the same rhetoric that's being read now in Canada is exactly the same rhetoric as the goose step funny mustache man did many years ago, and the things that he said, and how he got to be able to control the population. So again, here we are. What do we want? What restrictions that have been put upon us that we feel are freedoms that we are willing to let go of in order for us to have the true freedom that we want to have? And I think that's the next step, and that's coming into a step of what types of independence that you want to have, because even though you get a job, like, even if I got a job and I'm thinking, "Yeah, I can get a job, but I don't know how long that job's going to last," you know, with the economy, or is that place going to last? Is it, or are they going to be downsizing, etcetera, blah, 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 because there's going to be a lot of companies that within the next 2 years, I can say they're not gonna be around, even the ones that you think. Now, people think that McDonald's is going to be around, are they? If McDonald's doesn't make a go out of this meal, the only reason why they're doing the cheap meal right now is because they got huge money from an advertiser to do it, and to invest into the company in order for them to do this deal, this $5 meal, which is $5 in the States. And I know everybody hates McDonald's and everybody hates this and stuff like that. I'm sorry, McDonald's fries are fucking good. Um, when they're fresh, they are good. I don't care. They have salt and shit on them. They're good. And in every country, McDonald's is different. I just saw, yes, it has all of this stuff in it and blah, blah, blah. Yet, if you're a single person and you're wanting to make a meal last. It's a fave hangover meal. Yes, it is. Uh, s so is the double bacon, or the croissant sandwich at Starbucks. It's another one that's good for hangovers. Um, but it's if you only have a certain amount of money and you can buy a McDonald's burger or McDonald's meal for $5, it's and you could do that for, several days, or you make it last over a couple days, you're a single person, whatever. It's cheaper than going into the grocery store and having to buy all the ingredients that you need to prepare a meal. You know, it's one of those things. That's why Americans are so fat. It's because the poverty level and stuff, and what people can afford. But I know things are, but anyways, get off topic. Um, so many different things there. Um, Yet the thing is that there's so many companies that are, um, going under and that are having trouble and that are, uh, closing down. And I noticed that because where there used to be quite a few Starbucks, there isn't. Right? So you're gonna find that there's gonna be a lot of places like McDonald's, Burger King. I don't even think there's a burger there might be 1 or 2 Burger Kings in Calgary. Burger King has never been a big one here. But different fast food places, because of the cost, aren't going to be around. People are starving. Yeah, they are. I wish healthy food was more affordable. So do I. So do I. I wish healthy food was more affordable. But, the other thing, this is why you're gonna find more people starting to dumpster dive too and do dumpster diving. And because if they can get things and pull things out of the garbage, it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper. I mean, some of the things that get thrown away are just fucking mind-boggling. I know with the grocery stores, they all have their garbages are all compacted now, and they're all hidden away, and you can't get into any of the garbage. But the shit that gets thrown away in a grocery store is just it's heartbreaking. Fast food places are being employed by robots. Yes, they are. There's quite a few of them being automated, and that also has to do with raising, like in California, all fast food restaurants and that have to pay their employees $20 an hour. And for some, I mean, people say, well, it's a multi-billion dollar corporation and da 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 da. Yes, it is. Yet, when a multi-million dollar corporation, it has to pay somebody $20 an hour, and your cost of food, you have to pay your wages, you gotta pay the wages, and you gotta pay whatever comes off of those wages, right? And then you gotta pay for the lights, you gotta pay for the rent or the lease of wherever the place is, property taxes, and everything else, which all have gone up as well. Their bottom line goes down. So what do they do is that they decrease staff, they decrease, um, time of when they're open because they can't afford it. So that's the other thing is like, where you thought, "Okay, well, maybe I can get, 20 hours a week at something that'll help me to" even at Walmart's having problems, and if you go into Walmart, half the cashiers aren't even open anymore. Because it's like, well, go through the self-serve, and people will say, "Well, I didn't pay for the self-serve, like, I want a cashier." They can't afford the cashiers. They can't afford to pay the cashiers, right? So they have the self-serve coming in, and soon you're going to see where it's going to be app operated, where you go in and you load everything onto your app, and everything goes whatever you put in your basket gets taken off of your app. And you get billed there, and then you just leave. That's what Apple stores are like that. So you're gonna start seeing Walmart stores and a lot of other stores being that way as well. Costco's even having issues as well. So a lot of the big corporations are what we know of as big corporations are changing, and their concepts and everything are changing. And again, so that goes back to that, making it simple, making it easier, making it how are we going to create something better for ourselves? And what are we willing to give up of the restrictions that we feel that are the freedoms, that are the protections, in order for us to have the true freedoms in our life? And that's where I feel a lot of the energy's at, and where a lot of people don't wanna give up certain things because they like to keep things as normal, as they can, and that's where we're at as a society right now. So that's what's gonna be it's gonna blow up somehow. It's gonna blow up in a big way. So, and I always say it's like, people have all these complaints. Okay, give me the complaint. Now give me the solution. Let's look at the solutions that we can do to help things grow. This weekend, the Sikh community gave away food, tons of food, absolutely fabulous. And they had truckloads of food. They were giving away milk. They were giving away frozen what else was frozen popsicles, I think I saw on there. They had all kinds of vegetables and everything. I mean, they just got together and connected with different people, and and they do this. I think they've been doing it. Well, it was this week. I don't know if they do it every week. I think they try to do it every week. But it's like a shout out to the Sikh community for doing that. That's absolutely fabulous. There's another group called St. Vincent de Paul, which works through the Catholic Church. They have been doing so much work, and helping young families and young single moms find furniture to get set up. So if they need to, if pots and pans and everything else, a lot of people have extras, extra, pots and pans, and maybe there's a couch in the basement that's still really good, but nobody ever sits on it anymore. Um, Things like that. And so St. Vincent de Paul uh, has organized and to help a lot of moms, single moms, and young families, get started in apartments and get started in some places. So shout out to St. Vincent de Paul. There's a church on Elbow Drive. I think it's an Anglican church. I think it's Anglican. That has they have like a little coffee house in the basement where you could stop in and get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And there's women that are down there. It works. I think it's like a 10 to 1 or a 10 to 2 kind of thing. And it's right across. There's a Starbucks across the way. There's a school. I can't remember what that school is on Elbow. It's a high school that's there. And then there's a church on the corner. Great description. Whoever lives in Calgary, most people who don't live in Calgary don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyways, they have a coffee house in there that they serve to people. So there's these little things, these little places that are there. In Bennington, they have a where you could drop food off into this pantry. It's a free pantry, and you could drop things off into the pantry, and people can just go there and take what they need. Absolutely fine. I think they have another one in Cochrane. Um, but these things are getting utilized, like, talking to some of these people, they're busier than ever. They've never been so busy, right? Yeah, they get busy and stuff like that, but it's been crazier, more crazy than ever. But there's all these little things that are there that are sort of working, these little underground places that are doing such beautiful work. And I think those are the things that we got to seek out. There's another one too. If you are wanting vegetables every month, and you could pay like $30 or 20, and it's called Garden something. I can't remember what the name is, but they're set up throughout the city, and they're throughout the different communities. If you live in like West Hillhurst, go West Hillhurst community, and they'll talk to you about the different things that they do. So look at your different community centers, right, within your community, because they're doing these things if you need help. And if you're in a smaller town, go to your local church, go to the local Anglican church, United Catholic, whatever it is. They will send you, say, hey, yeah, they're helping over here, or do you need help over here? And you may, the thing is that you might be bashful, or you don't want to do that because you're pride or you're embarrassed or whatever. Get over it. This is where, um, then again, you could go in there and maybe you're going to be a volunteer. Maybe you're going to be the person that goes in there, and you start to volunteer, and you start to help the people in some way. And you start to be, maybe that person that helps to, help out with the coffee house, or help out with the St. Vincent de Paul. You don't have to be Catholic to help them out. You don't have to be Sikh to help the Sikhs out. The thing is that there were so many people that were helping them out that weren't Sikh, that were posted all over Instagram. It was absolutely fabulous. So that's the thing, is like there are these beautiful organizations, and they love it when others can come in and help, because that's what builds the community. That's what builds, where you start to build a connection with people. And it's in every community. We just have to start seeking that out, and that's part of those threads that are coming in. And sometimes we don't take notice of it, or we don't want to take notice of it, or we have too much pride. And I get it. I get it. I get it. I get the pride. I get that it's so hard when you don't have and that you need to ask for help. On that note, if anybody wants to send a donation and buy me a coffee, that would be so thankful because Mama always needs coffee. Mama always needs some gas in her gas tank. So if anybody wants to send a donation, thank you very much. You can do that and buy me a coffee. But there, you know, if you don't ask, it doesn't happen. If you don't ask and you don't tell people, it doesn't happen. That's the thing. And too many people are silenced, and we can't be silenced. You got to get out there and you got to ask. If somebody needs something, ask. If you're too afraid to ask and you want to put it out there, ask, tell me. I'll put it out there. I'll say so and so that needs this. Anybody know anything? Anybody can help that person? So this is where it's like, yeah, let's do that networking. That's what it's all about. Do the networking. If it doesn't matter, like I know Charlene's in Moose Jaw. A lot of you are, either live outside of Calgary and stuff. Look at the community boards, look at the different things. There are people there, and that's what really, and that's what they don't want you to do. Powers that be don't want you to connect. Powers that be don't want you to form a community that's going to help people. They don't want you to do that because it's bad. Don't do that. They want to isolate you. They want to separate you. And here's this energy that wants to bring you together. Air signs don't like to be by themselves. Air signs love to be with other people. They love to connect with other people. They like to chat with other people. They want to do these things. And Aquarius energy wants to connect people, to bring people together and bring it very simply. They don't want to just overdo it, but let's bring it in and bring it in very simply and allow that. So yeah, baby. Yes. Ending it on a positive note. So June is coming up, and we have June astrology that's going to be happening. And so many transits are happening. So many cool transits are going to be happening in June. So if you want to join me for four Mondays in a row, starting on June 3rd, and it's $75. And you can join me. You get a little booklet, and there's other booklets, and we're going to talk about the different energies of the signs. What are the energies? What are the directions? Are they air? Are they fire? Are they water? Are they earth? And what that means. So we're going to get into the elements. What are the elements, and what does it mean? To have those elements in my chart. And we're going to utilize your own charts. So pulling up your chart and saying, I might be my sun sign might be an earth sign, but a majority of my energy is air sign. Like a lot of my planets and the energies are an air sign, but my sun sign is in an earth sign. What does that mean? So you got to think about earth and air and the energy that it causes. If you have too much air to too much earth, well, you're probably a little tornado. So it's looking at the different the elements, what the elements mean, and bringing those elements to life for you all. So if you want to join me for the month of June, come on down, baby. Come on down, and it's going to be online, live, and recorded. So, and on that note too, if you want to send a donation, thank you very much. And thank you for all those who have sent donations. Trust me, they have come in handy in buying me coffee, in buying gas so I can pick up Mateus, helped me to buy cat food. You've helped me to do a lot of things that, unfortunately, because the only income I have is doing this, and that's it. This is my income. So Mama wants to make it big so she can help more people. Yeah. Let's start a food run. That'd be cool. And we've done that too. We've helped a few people with the things and any extra stuff that we have gotten. Steve has helped a few people at the school that Mateus goes to. And just quietly, we just put everything in a bag and then we bring it to them. Here you go. So, and it's been so greatly appreciated. inspiration and passion comes forth. So there's new inspiration and passion that comes forth. And the wishes. Yes. So fabulous day. So we have the inspirations, we have the wishes fulfilled. The Nine of Cups brings all those things that you are wanting to create, all of the things that you are wanting to have to fruition, and bringing that passion, bringing that light, right? So that fire comes in, it's that new fire, it's that new ignition. What do you want to start? What do you want to do? Because you can make it happen. The energy's there to make it happen. You're going to create that positiveness, you're going to create that of what it is, of what you want. So it Nine of Cups is all about wishes. It's one of the best cards to get. It is one that says, am I ready to receive the gift with gratitude? And how am I celebrating my achievements? So bringing it to the heart and asking yourself, what is it that I want to achieve? Because it's really got to come from the heart, and it's got to come from the soul, right? Because when you're wanting to create something that is emotional and loving and caring with passion, it's got to come from the heart, and it's got to come from the soul. So ask yourself, how am I celebrating my achievements? Right? How am I celebrating my achievements? And with that, know that there might be something there. So we got a little bit of struggle, but it's not. You're overcoming something. So it's double nines. So something's coming to an end. So we got an ending that's happening. Things are coming to an end. And this is like, you feel outright overwhelming due to responsibilities and limitations. So you feel like it's like we want to bring you great things, but you're feeling so overwhelmed with everything. And the pressures may create boundaries. So watch, because beautifulness wants to come. Greatness wants to come, but we're putting up boundaries. What are those boundaries that we're putting up? Is it fear? Is it our pride? Is it something to do with our anxiety? Is it something that we just don't want to talk about? We're embarrassed. So shame comes in it, shame and blame and guilt. I should be so much better than what I am. I should be in a better spot than what I am. Shouldn't we all? But here we are. So give yourself some time. This is where it's now may be a good time to work on the spiritual health of mind, body, and soul. Working on your health in mind, body, and soul. Health, bringing in the goodness. The goodness is there. Two cards are saying goodness is there. So this is saying that, you know what, we got to just watch. Look at what we prioritize. Look at what we, look at our strength and our ability to do things. And we might be feeling a lot of pressure that's on us right now, that we have to take a moment and take a time to breathe and open up and say, hey, okay, which way do I need to go? How can I celebrate my day? How can I celebrate the joy and the love that I have in my life? There you go. Have a blessed day, everybody, and may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Thank you for being a part of my community, and let's be a part of a community. And if you know of somebody who needs help, they're afraid to say something, maybe you can post it out on your social media so other people can say, hey, I can help. What can I do for you? So, and stepping out and doing that, and then you can bring the help to them, right? So have a blessed one, everybody. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. All righty? So let the ducks take us out. Bye-bye.